For weeks leading up to my 50th birthday, everyone kept telling me something big was coming. My wife, Denise, would smile each time I asked about it and just say, "Be patient, Alan. It's gonna be worth it." Our daughter Emma, who's 20, had this secretive grin every time the birthday came up. And our son Kyle, 23, who normally doesn't show interest in family events, was suddenly dropping hints like, "You're not ready for what's coming, old man." I'm not one to expect much. We're not rich, but we live comfortably. I've always prioritized providing for the family. Emma's college tuition isn't cheap, and just last month, I helped Kyle with $4,000 for his apartment deposit. It wasn't easy, but that's what being a dad means to me, being the guy who shows up. Still, all the whispers and grins had me excited. I thought maybe they were planning a surprise party, or maybe a weekend getaway for the family. Denise would hush me when I probed, saying, "Don't ruin the surprise." Even Denise's father, Robert, who only ever calls when he needs something fixed, phoned last week just to ask which day I'd be off work for my birthday. I told him I'd taken Tuesday off, my actual birthday, but as luck would have it, an emergency came up at the construction site I manage. My boss called early that morning asking if I could handle it. I didn't hesitate. I called Denise from the car and told her I'd be home by dinner. She sounded off, distracted, but just said, "That works fine," before hanging up quickly. It wasn't the birthday I'd pictured. I spent the day crawling around in the mud fixing a busted water main and dealing with busted equipment. No one at work knew it was my birthday. I didn't tell them either. I just kept thinking about what might be waiting for me at home. I stopped on the way back and bought a bottle of nice whiskey, figured I deserved at least that much. But when I pulled into the driveway just before 6 p.m., something felt off. There were no extra cars, no signs of a gathering, no balloons, no noise. The house was dark. At first I thought maybe they were hiding, waiting to yell surprise. But when I stepped inside, I knew. The house was empty. Not just physically, emotionally. No note, no cake, no decorations, no laughter. I checked my phone, no missed calls, no texts. I called Denise, straight to voicemail. Kyle, same. Emma, nothing. By 7:30 p.m., I was sitting alone at the kitchen table staring at the whiskey bottle, wondering what the hell was going on. I even called the hospital just in case. Nothing. Called Denise's sister, no answer. Then I checked Instagram. Right there, posted 3 hours earlier, was a photo of Denise, Kyle, Emma, Robert, and Robert's wife, Sandra, smiling on a beach at some luxury resort, drinks in hand, sun shining. The caption under Kyle's post read, "Family vacation mode activated. He won't even notice we gone LOL. He won't even notice." The comments made it worse. Denise replied with laughing emojis. Sandra joked about workaholic husbands not appreciating the finer things. Emma hadn't commented, but she was there, looking happy as ever. I just sat there, numb, scrolling through their feed. More photos, jet skis, poolside cocktails, family dinners. They'd left 2 days earlier, on purpose, on my birthday. A trip planned around me, without me. And that's when something inside me cracked. Not from rage, but from clarity. They didn't forget me. They excluded me. Deliberately. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the back deck, whiskey glass in hand, phone glowing in the dark, scrolling through their vacation photos like I was watching a documentary about someone else's life. Every new post confirmed it wasn't a mistake or last-minute decision. They'd been planning this trip for weeks, without me, on my 50th birthday. By 2 a.m., the sting of betrayal had started to shift into something colder, something sharper. I opened my laptop and began piecing together the puzzle. First, I logged into our joint bank account. Sure enough, $4,000 had been withdrawn the Friday before, exactly the same amount I'd given Kyle for his apartment. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. Next, I dug through old posts and messages. Robert, my father-in-law, had been making vague remarks about a family reset and big plans for weeks. It was all there, hidden in plain sight. And then I found the credit card. A card I didn't even know existed, tucked away in an old email folder. Over $113,000 in charges, designer clothes, spa visits, upscale restaurants, and a fresh $6,000 from the very resort they were currently lounging at. I printed it all. Bank statements, screenshots, the post Kyle made with his "he won't even notice" caption. I started organizing it in a folder, page by page, like I was preparing for a court hearing. Because in a way, I was. Not a legal one, a personal one. One where I would finally hold everyone accountable. By sunrise, the silence remained unbroken. No calls, no texts, just more vacation updates on social media. That's when I took the next step. I called the bank and had my paycheck rerouted to a new private account. Then I called my friend Charlie, who'd gone through a divorce last year, and asked for his attorney's number. I wasn't filing, not yet, but I wanted options. I spent the day moving Denise's things into the guest room. I wasn't angry, I was methodical. The way you are when you find mold under the floorboards and realize the rot goes deeper than you thought. You don't patch over it, you gut it, you rebuild, if it's worth rebuilding. That evening, on the third day of their beach trip, I finally got a text from Emma. "Hey Dad, how's it going?" Like everything was normal, like she wasn't sipping cocktails on a white sand beach while I sat alone with a birthday cake I'd bought myself. I didn't answer. An hour later, Kyle texted, "Hey, can you check if I left my laptop charger at the house?" Still nothing about my birthday. Still no apology. Just a casual favor, like I was the concierge. I didn't answer that either. Then around 9:44 p.m., the dam broke. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Texts, WhatsApp messages, missed calls, even emails. Denise wrote, "Are you mad about something?" Piper tried calling. Kyle said, "Mom's freaking out. Can you just text her back?" I didn't respond. Instead, I posted a photo on Instagram. Just me at the kitchen table, birthday cake in front of me, candle lit, no caption, no smile, just a timestamp. That was the moment they knew I knew, and the panic started. The morning after I posted that photo, I woke up to 17 new messages. Most were from Denise, a few from Emma. Even Kyle tried again, his tone less casual now, more nervous. But I still didn't reply. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and began setting boundaries, not just emotional ones, but financial. I called the credit card companies and removed Denise as an authorized user from both my personal and business accounts. I logged into our mortgage portal and rerouted the next 3 months of payments to come from my new solo account. Then I changed the Wi-Fi password, installed a new passcode lock on my laptop, and set up a financial spreadsheet breaking down every single expense from the last 10 years. The numbers told a story, one none of them could argue with. 82% of our joint expenses had come from me. 94% of our retirement savings, me. 100% of the kids' college funds, me. And Denise? Most of her deposits went out as fast as they came in. Salon appointments, upscale lunches with her sister Lydia, shopping sprees, expensive scented candles she'd insist were for ambiance. Meanwhile, I'd been driving the same pickup for 12 years and putting off my dental work because we had to prioritize. By noon, Robert called. I let it go to voicemail. His message started fake concerned, ended with him calling me childish. Typical Robert. Always more invested in how things looked than how they actually were. I went about my day. Work, groceries, laundry, normal things. The texts kept coming in waves, pleading, apologizing, then accusing. At one point, Denise messaged, "This isn't the way to handle a family disagreement, Ethan. We need to talk like adults," as if excluding me from my own birthday was a minor disagreement, not a full-blown betrayal. That night, I got a voice message from Emma. She was crying, said she'd wanted to call me on my birthday, but that Grandma Kinsley told her it would ruin the surprise. She said she'd felt weird about the whole trip, but didn't know how to speak up. Said Robert had paid for most of it and called it a bonding experience. I almost called her back. Almost. But then I remembered her in those beach photos, smiling wide, cocktail in hand, lounging in a cabana while I sat home alone. 20-year-olds may be young, but they're old enough to know right from wrong. The next morning, I installed the new deadbolt, not to shut anyone out permanently, just to make sure that when they got back, they'd have to ring the doorbell like guests, like people who didn't live here anymore. Because if they wanted to walk back into my life, they'd need to acknowledge what they'd done. At 4:32 p.m., the Uber pulled into the driveway. I heard voices, saw the shadows move behind the curtains. Then silence. The doorbell rang. I took my time answering. There they were, sunburned, jet-lagged, trying to smile like nothing had happened. Denise holding a gift bag, Kyle avoiding eye contact, Emma on the verge of tears. Robert and Kinsley in the background, arms crossed. No one said anything for a moment. Then Denise stepped forward and said, "Ethan, we need to talk." I held up my phone, opened Instagram, showed Kyle's post. He won't even notice we gone, LOL. The silence after that was louder than any shouting could have been. Denise was the first to break the silence. She stepped forward, tried to smile like she wasn't crumbling inside, and said, "Ethan, this whole thing got blown out of proportion. The trip wasn't supposed to hurt you. It was supposed to be a reset." I didn't answer, just stepped aside and motioned them into the living room. Robert muttered something under his breath about how, "We're doing this now." Huh? But I ignored him. I walked into the kitchen, grabbed the folder I'd prepared, the one with printouts of bank statements, credit card charges, Instagram screenshots, and the timeline of every lie, and placed it square in the middle of the coffee table. "I've been told I'm dramatic," I said calmly, "but I prefer organized." Emma sank into the armchair. Kyle leaned against the wall, arms folded, still not meeting my eyes. Denise sat on the edge of the couch, her knees bouncing, eyes darting toward the folder like it might explode. I opened it and flipped through the pages slowly, deliberately. "This," I said, tapping one bank statement, "is the $4,000 I thought I gave Kyle to help with his apartment. Turns out it was withdrawn a week before the resort booking." Kyle flinched. Denise reached for the paper. I pulled it away. "This," I continued, sliding a printout of a social media post across the table, "is Robert commenting on how good it felt to finally unplug from the noise," meaning me, I assume. Robert scoffed, but said nothing. I turned to Denise. "You didn't just forget my birthday. You planned a family vacation around it. You used our savings. You laughed at my absence. You let them all believe I wouldn't notice." She opened her mouth to respond, but I cut her off. "And before you say it was meant as a surprise, let me read the text exchange between you and Lydia. Should we even tell him?" And your reply, "Why bother? He'll be too busy with work anyway." "That's not a surprise, Denise. That's exclusion." Emma burst into tears. "I didn't mean for it to go like this," she sobbed. "I swear, Dad, I didn't know how to say anything without everyone getting mad at me." I softened for a second. She was young, confused, still learning, but she was also old enough to be responsible for her choices. "I'm not mad that you went," I told her. "I'm mad that none of you thought I'd care, that I mattered so little to the people I've been working for my entire adult life." Denise tried again. "Ethan, you've been so distant. You're always tired, always buried in work. We just thought maybe you needed a break." "No," I said firmly. "You wanted a break from me. That's the truth, isn't it?" She didn't deny it. By 7 p.m., I'd laid everything out, financial facts, emotional truths, and the gaping wound they left behind. I told Denise she'd be staying in the guest room for now, that I'd continue covering the mortgage and bills for 3 months, that we'd use that time to figure out whether there was anything left to rebuild. I told Kyle I expected the apartment money repaid, no excuses. Told Emma her tuition would still be covered, but the payments would now go directly to the university. No more shared accounts. As for Robert and Kinsley, I looked them dead in the eye and said, "You don't speak for this family anymore. You don't walk in uninvited. And if you ever show up without knocking again, I'll have you removed." They left without another word. That night, the house felt unfamiliar, like I'd stepped into someone else's life. But it also felt honest. For the first time in years, nothing was hidden, just raw, painful truth. And that, somehow, was a start. The following morning, I woke up to the sound of Denise quietly moving around the kitchen. The smell of fresh coffee drifted down the hallway, but it didn't feel like a peace offering, just muscle memory from years of routine. I stayed in bed a few extra minutes, listening to the clinking of mugs and drawers opening, wondering if any of it meant something. Then I got up and went about my day like I had every day since they left me behind, on my terms. Emma came by later that afternoon, a stack of books under her arm and a worried look in her eyes. "Can I stay here a few days?" she asked. "It's tense at Aunt Lydia's." I nodded and pointed toward the guest room. "You're always welcome," I said, "but you're also old enough to understand that welcome comes with boundaries now." She didn't argue, just nodded and disappeared down the hall. That night, Kyle texted for the first time since the confrontation. His message read, "I've been thinking about everything. I know I messed up. Can we talk soon?" I didn't reply right away. Instead, I scrolled through the budget spreadsheet I'd made with him the other week. I remembered how his hands had trembled while we went over bills, how the reality of adulthood had finally caught up to him. Maybe this was part of growing up. Hard lessons, slow humility. I responded, "Come by Sunday, we'll talk then." Denise, on the other hand, had gone quiet. No attempts at emotional conversations, no long texts trying to explain things. But every now and then, I'd catch her watching me, like she was trying to read a language she'd once known but had long forgotten how to speak. On Thursday, she asked if I would consider couples counseling. "Maybe we need someone to help us talk," she said, without fighting. I didn't say yes, I didn't say no either. I told her I'd think about it. Friday afternoon, a thick envelope arrived in the mail. It was from Denise's lawyer. I opened it slowly, half expecting a formal divorce petition. But it wasn't that. Not yet. Just preliminary paperwork, asset disclosures, property lists, a proposed financial split. Neatly typed, sterile, professional, emotionless. That night, I sat on the back porch with a glass of whiskey and read every page twice. I didn't feel angry. I felt something closer to clarity. Denise came out after a while, stood in the doorway for a long minute before stepping onto the porch. "I didn't want it to come to this," she said. I looked up. "Then why did it?" She had no answer. Saturday morning, I drove to the community center for my usual swim. As I walked out afterward, towel over my shoulder, one of the guys from the hiking group waved. "Hey, Ethan," he called out. "We're doing the Canyon Trail next weekend if you're up for it." "Yeah," I said, smiling for what felt like the first time in days. "I'll be there." Sunday came, and Kyle arrived on time, freshly showered, wearing a wrinkled shirt and nervous energy. We made omelets together. We sat at the table like equals, not as father and son, but as two men trying to make sense of their own messes. He apologized, awkwardly, haltingly, but he meant it. "I don't know how we got so far off track," he said. I shrugged, same way all of us did, slowly, quietly, without paying attention. As he left, he hugged me, a real hug, not the kind you give out of obligation. Later that evening, I got a message from Emma. "Thanks for giving us a second chance, even if we didn't deserve it. I love you, Dad." I stared at that message for a long time. Some days, I still feel like I'm putting broken pieces together without knowing what the picture is supposed to be. But now, at least, I'm the one choosing which pieces to keep. And that feels like something worth holding on to.